Hello and welcome to the Inner Compass podcast. I am Victoria, founder of the Inner Compass Collective, and this is a space for high achieving women who are at a crossroads, successful on paper, but sensing something deeper is calling. So if you're at a crossroads in your career or life, if you've outgrown something but you don't yet know what comes next, and you're craving direction that feels aligned instead of forced, then you are in the right place. And here we talk about identity shifts, self-trust, and defining your true north from your own inner compass so that you can consciously design your next chapter without abandoning success and abandoning yourself. So today I wanted to talk about how I actually came to understand my purpose, to really highlight through this story that the clues are already there. It's just that you might not actually be seeing them. And this is a really key thing to know, because often we can get so disillusioned or dissatisfied by our path that we have such an avoidance to where we've been or the environment that we're in, and we aren't really able to see why we ended up in that environment and what it's got to do with our purpose moving forward. And the other thing is, you might have already received what your purpose is, but you have misinterpreted it or just kind of dismissed it in the totality of what it is supposed to be, which is what happened to me. And so I actually came to understand my purpose back in 2020 as part of the path diversion. So I had been looking for purpose since I was like 26 years old. That was just a constant kind of question that just kept coming up, and I was always exploring different paths, and I landed on, at that point, or 2019, organizational psychology, because I always knew it was in the field of understanding people and working with that. And this is why I'm saying the clues are always there, because I didn't end up in a career that was about behavioral science and profiling people for no reason. And so I was always leaning in that. And then I thought, actually, I forgot. 2019, I remember I was in a consultancy and I reached out to ask them to start doing organizational psychology, because I was like, well, this must be it. So I started a master's degree, and I was studying a master's degree. I only got 2 subjects in, and then I had my realizations. But through this assignment, it was about leadership capabilities. I got 49 out of 50 for this assignment. I was so invested in it. I freaking loved it, because it was all about self-assessment. And it was my leadership styles. And as part of this, they gave you like a remit to do all sorts of models. I did my own ikigai, and I filled it in completely. And I started doing the rest of the assignment. And then through the assignment, I landed on organizational psychology. Fast forward to a year after that, realizing that it's not organizational psychology at all. It's actually far more expensive than that. And I started working with a coach, and it just came to the realization that this course is not it. So I dropped it all and then went through the rest of the journey. Fast forward to, I can't remember how many years, maybe like 2 years after the assignment. And I was like, I really want to help people with purpose. I want to help people with their direction and coming into truth and their ikigai, basically. And so I found this assignment, and I was just looking through it, and I was like, what did I write? And I go and look at the ikigai, and no joke, what I wrote in that ikigai, like the conclusion sentence, was pretty much almost my business statement of my mission statement. I was like, what? Like, I knew it, I wrote it, but my logic couldn't accept it at the time. And so I was like, well, what's the logical way to do this? Oh, organizational psychology, which is not going to put people in their purpose. Organizational psychology is not about, I wish it was about aligning people with their purpose, but it never is. This is why I personally can't work in the system, because it's very frustratingly slow to change it. Will I work for the system? 100%. But so anyway, I logicked myself out of what I had already known, what I had already landed on, and then I went through this logic way of trying to force fit into a path that wasn't quite right anyway, only to land 2 years later, after doing more of the inner work, to realize that that was it all along. And here was the blocker. I just at the time could not see how to build outside of corporate. I actually couldn't see. I had no desire to run my own business, even though I'm incredibly freedom orientated. It just was so conditioned into me that that's not a pathway. I just completely just tried to fit it back into a box, and it didn't work, because it won't work, because your purpose can't be put in a box. And also the moment you start going into how, or like title on your essence and what you're here to do and be, you already limit it, and it's not it. So I really had already named it, but I didn't trust it. I wasn't ready. And this is what will be happening, is the clues to your direction and your clarity and your purpose are probably already there. One, you're just not actually aware of them in their full capacity. So you might be looking at them in the way that I was, which is trying to logic them, which is not going to work. Or you're just trying to look within a field that you understand, but it's outside of that. And this is why there's this block. And they talk a lot about transferable skills when it comes to career shifts. We are moving into the era of the portfolio career, which is basically like the fractional, where people aren't going to work for one place. We have so much change going on in every single industry right now. One of the biggest skills you can have is adaptability and the ability to shift and change and evolve and build those skills. So we're no longer in these like really linear careers that are, you just go and you're a lawyer and then that's just how it goes. It's going to shift, it's going to change. There's an adaptability to it. And so naturally, a place to be looking is not just your skill sets, but the skill sets that you love. Because there's a difference. Like, I ace accounting type of stuff. Guess what? I do my tax at the very last minute. I don't like it. I don't even do it. I really like life admin is a real struggle for me. So anything that's too like structured and like rule based, I don't like, but I can do. I literally just built a entire like tech platform, like the most complicated UI tech platform. I even designed the UI. I'm not qualified in that. I don't like it. It drains the shit out of me. I like vision. I like strategy. I like bigger picture. I love profiling people. These are all skills that I had in my corporate role. When I was in strategy consulting, that is what I did. I had this most funnest project working for Lego, building their adult product strategy. It was amazing. It was like this whole understanding of how adults spend their free time and this mindfulness angle and all of this. Profiling people, bringing them to life, being like, oh, this is how you understand this profile, this is that, and then this is how you activate. I actually thoroughly enjoy that. There's other skills that I've had, but I would say like the bigger picture thing for me and the strategy, and this is, I've got to this now as a place where I'm bridging this into what I do, because when you think of inner compass and guiding your direction, it is truly strategy. It's like an inner strategy of like, okay, well, what is your true north? It's the same for a corporation or strategy. It is, what is your true north? Where are you going? Where are you anchored? Like, what is that? And then how do you need to shift to get there? It's actually the same when you look at it that way. And this is what I mean, the clues were always there. The other one is a skill that I had to build into. I was terrified at the beginning, speaking. I am a communicator. Like, I eventually see my work and my role just being on stage and just speaking. Like, I love workshops, I love group work, I love doing that. I built that in corporate. It took a while because I didn't love it at the beginning. I only loved it now, and I loved it when I started being like, I actually can do this. And my style has obviously improved over time and I've got better at it, but that is also something that was right in front of me. And so this is what I'm wanting to highlight, is it's not this big far off leap or jump that you think it is. Often it is bridging, and it's definitely going to be more expensive than where you are right now. because you probably can't see how expensive it's going to be. But if you even just view your skill set or the things that you do, and not just in work, just generally, what brings you energy, what brings you curiosity and expansion, where you're just curious, you're just like, oh, and what does the opposite? It really can be as simple as that. Like it sounds silly, and I think the thing that most people don't credit is a lot of the driver of feeling that disillusionment, or I guess lack of alignment with an environment or where you are, can often be the culture, the people, the types of initiatives that you are supporting. That can be a big one. Even just shifting that could very well do it. But I tended to find a lot of it was the game and the egoic part of things. And know that you're playing your own ego game as well. And that's often where the disillusionment is you are running towards certain titles or avenues because of what they're going to do to how people view you and your status. That's often where the disillusionment is coming from. It's not from ambition. It's from ambition that is being driven by fear, and that is, if any form of being validated, being seen a certain way, it is fear. It is coming from a place that you don't already believe that who you are is enough to be validated and just to be. That is what the cause of that is. And so this is the thing, like our conditioning and what we're used to really narrows our field of what is possible for us. It did it to me. You watched my example where I just logicked my way into something that was not it. It was nowhere near as expensive as what it was supposed to be. This is where the inner work comes, because your reality is only going to be filtered to what you can see and perceive. And that is where the big change happens, when we start to understand what is possible for us. You need to expand your awareness of what is possible. Otherwise, you're not going to see it. It's the red car theory. You don't see red cars until you highlight that there are red cars, and then you start to see red cars. If you don't see what's possible, you're not going to see it until you start highlighting it and becoming aware of it. And this is where we get stuck, and that's what happened to me. I just couldn't see a path that sat outside corporate. And so your identity determines what opportunities you see, which is why this entire journey is always about identity. It is about who you are becoming, and the external will shift to match that. It is not about chasing another path. Tried that, didn't work. It is about becoming the person who is in that path before the path even appears. And when we have been building an identity in a path that gets us validated, that gets us approved, it is so uncomfortable to think about changing that identity. It is like a loss of self or a grieving of self. And this is why we can often keep our reality where it is, because it's what's feeding our sense of belonging and validation. But it is also what cuts us off from actually understanding what our purpose is and being able to see what that path could be. And it will cut you off from clarity and intuition as well. And so this is what happens when we don't change our perception, in essence, or change our identity and start to really focus inward. Is our reality and what we're looking at is forever going to be funneled to what we already know. And that is naturally going to block you understanding what your true path and purpose is, because it's not in what you know. Otherwise, you would have found it. And it leads us to pursue paths that are acceptable, but this is what continues that disillusionment with the path and that feeling of lacking depth and meaning and alignment. This is what happens when we keep going down these paths. They're just going to feel the same. It's the grass is always greener, but it's never going to be greener with that approach, because it's just like same shit, different house kind of theory. Just reflect on that as well, and just see how you could be limiting and already dismissing things because they don't feel logical, or they don't make sense, or you don't see how they're possible. because you're probably not going to see how it's possible. Your purpose is probably much more expensive than you actually realize. Mine is, and I'm not ready for all of it. A lot of what we're here to do and our purpose is already, the clues have already been dropped. They're already there. It's about collecting them and fielding them and bringing them together to actually understand, as well as committing to that journey of going in to understand who am I without all of these labels. And really going back to look back through your career history, look back at what actually drew you to where you ended up. What are the moments in those where you felt expanded and growth? Where's your curiosity? What do you do that you don't even get paid for? Where does that go? What do you spend your time doing? Where do you feel lit up? Start there, start looking, start understanding the clues that are already there. And this is really what we do inside the Inner Compass Foundation course. It is defining that true north. It is going back, using different techniques to basically override our conscious mind and our ego to really come in and understand where we're supposed to be going, what our true direction is, our true north. And I call it the inner compass because it just makes sense, right? It's the direction of where we want to go. It's the direction that's going to lead us to the most alignment and naturally the most fulfillment, joy, and also abundance, because this is the other conditioning we have, and this is certainly one I had, where you can't make money out of corporate. Well, we're in a very different era right now, and that has already been proven untrue. In fact, things are going to be shifting so rapidly, particularly if you are holding into one of these jobs where you just know that eventually AI is coming. Like, this is the time. This is the time to be building. It is the time to get into alignment. It is the time to work out what your true direction is and do the work to start shifting and moving in that direction. And it starts with the self-discovery and pulling the pieces of the puzzle together from the inside to go, okay, this is where I'm going. You do not have to think it is possible. You only need to be able to think that the first step is possible. And that is where the community comes in, where it is about the integration, because that is so key, because where you are going and your true direction is going to be a lot more expensive than what you actually can feel into right now. We are all living a very, very limited version of who we can really be. We are really powerful, and I don't even know what percentage of power I've stepped into. I know there's a lot more coming, and it can be really frightening, but this is where the integration comes, is we need to be able to step into this version without having fear and safety and security and all of these things that our current path will be giving us. We need to step forward knowing that they're there rather than coming back to the clutch. And when we come into that true north awareness, that I know who I'm here to be and what I'm here to do and how I'm here to serve, you start making decisions from that place through the integration, because otherwise we still anchor into fear. You stop moving in a way where it's about logic and making sense and doing what looks successful. You start creating your own version of that. So I'm going to wrap it up there with a couple of takeouts. Go back and do that exercise. Look at your history. Look at where the energy is and where the drain is. Understand where your curiosity is, where you were drawn, what you want to spend your time with even when you're not earning money. And if the course is calling you and you are really ready to start defining that true direction, that true north of what your life is, then I'm going to pop the link down the bottom. It will be launching in April. It's already done a round and this is the second one. I don't have the specific dates. I'm waiting for alignment on that. And this is the other thing you're going to learn, is how to move in alignment, because it doesn't mean urgency. It doesn't mean like moving all the time and acting all the time and moving from that, because that is the old world and we are moving to the new way, which is moving with alignment. And timing is a big one of that. So I'll put the links in there and I will leave it there.